Welcome back to the Vinyl Brotherhood, where we like to kick back, take it easy, and just chat about music, whether it be the latest and greatest new releases or old favorites from years gone by. We here at the Vinyl Brotherhood are enjoying the most wonderful time of year. It's a very special season for us, and a big part of that is because of all of the great music we get to enjoy. Today we're going to review the latest record by Switchfoot titled This Is Our Christmas Album. It's going to be a great time, so get comfortable, and we'll get started momentarily. So I've been a lifelong listener of Switchfoot's music. I remember when their album New Way to Be Human was released in 1997, and I recall watching the video for the title track at a church function. I went all in on Switchfoot when they dropped their 2003 breakout hit record, The Beautiful Letdown, and have kept up with them pretty closely ever since. Although they have released a couple of individual Christmas tunes in the past, This Is Our Christmas Album is their first full-length seasonal LP. I really do feel like this is something that should have happened a long time ago, but better late than never, I suppose. And in truth, they've grown and expanded their sonic landscape so much, I think I would rather have latter-day Switchfoot making this record over their younger selves. But we'll put that statement to the test. Let's take our LP over to the record player, give it a spin, and we'll go from there.
Chestnuts roasting on an open fire, Jack Frost nipping at your nose, Yuletide carols being sung by.
We're going to take a look at our album cover first. This is Our Christmas Album by Switchfoot. Here's the backside. It's worth noting that the track listing is different on the vinyl record than it is on the digital version. My review is mostly going to be based off the digital version, but you should know that this is a very fine vinyl record. It looks very nice, very high quality. Got silver. I'm going to try to show it off if I can get out of the sleeve without getting fingerprints all over. Yeah, Switchfoot's stuff is usually pretty high quality, and if you order from their store, they often send it with like just barely. I'm having a tough time getting out of the sleeve. They'll even send like notes and autographs and whatnot, so I recommend doing that. So we're all familiar with Switchfoot by now. California alternative rock group, occasional pop group, an insanely hardworking group of guys putting out amazing work since the mid to late 90s, and now they have finally made a full-length Christmas LP. On a sadder note, I think this is the first project with minimal to no involvement of uber-talented guitarist Drew Shirley since he joined a while before 2005's Nothing Is Sound, which is an amazing album, by the way. Up to this point, nobody had ever left Switchfoot. They had only added on members to their original trio lineup. So it's sad to lose Drew. We'll miss you, Drew, and we hope you're well. Thankfully, everyone else is still here. Brothers John and Tim Foreman on guitar and bass, respectively. Jerome Fontamilis on keyboards, and of course, the amazing Chad Butler on drums. And they're bringing with them decades of experience and brotherhood, maybe even vinyl brotherhood, and it can be felt on nearly every minute of This Is Our Christmas Album. One of my favorite things about the season is that we get to revisit these age-old classic songs that share the amazing news of Christ who lived among us, and we celebrate these truths around the world with this timeless music. Switchfoot provides a few of their own takes on these staples, and they do a pretty good job with them. Silent Night combos very nicely with It Came Upon a Midnight Clear, and while I initially felt like the swifter tempo was somewhat jarring at first, I was able to adjust fairly quickly. It's a great rendition, if somewhat straightforward. These guys in Switchfoot have become experts in molding an atmosphere over the last few years, and this track is but one example of this on the record. John shakes up the melody of I Heard the Bells on Christmas Day, ensuring that we can't sing along with it. It's still a really neat experiment, giving it more of a haunting feel with the arrangement full of interesting and atmospheric details. My favorite of the traditional Christmas hymns is probably O Little Town of Bethlehem. Jerome's keys are beautiful and expressive, and the light crunch, that slight distortion, adds tons of personality. The songs are presented with the respect they deserve. While being creative and full of amusing twists and turns, they're still tasteful and rightfully serve the themes of peace and joy at the coming of Jesus Christ, God with us. They're very well realized and present a great opportunity to reflect on the wondrous and timeless Christmas message. Their take on the contemporary classics are fantastic as well. As one should want and expect, these selections are fun, intimate, goofy, whimsical, and warm-hearted. There's something beautifully surreal about listening to these songs being performed by Jon Foreman. It's like having an old friend over for your Christmas get-together. Their version of Vince Guaraldi's Christmas Time Is Here is utterly charming. This is actually my favorite Christmas song, and I'm very pleased with Switchfoot's treatment of this classic. They approach the arrangement with a childlike wonder that should be expected of all great Christmas tunes, and the odd mixture of quirky keyboard sounds and playful guitar tones make this a very fun and special experience. And the jingle bells jangling softly in the background is like the cherry on top. I also love their take on the Christmas song, aka chestnuts roasting on an open fire. Is that Nat King Cole originally? Feel free to fact check me on that. But they've got the purest, coziest guitar sound playing a really sweet passage throughout that helps set it apart from other renditions. They lead into this track with a witty excerpt from a live performance, poking fun at a portion of the original lyrics. It's delightful and adds to the record's intimate, personal feel. You gotta have that sense of togetherness, you know? But let's move on to Switchfoot's original Christmas offerings. The first being California Christmas. The other day, I was playing this song for producer Ian, and we both enthusiastically agreed that this song is pretty much what all Christmas music needs to sound like. They treat us to a slightly off-kilter and handmade sound featuring an atmosphere or textures reminiscent of a simpler time when our culture's Christmas traditions were being developed. They nail the Christmas vibe, but it's joined perfectly to the classic California sound, complete with verby guitars and sweeping multi-part vocal harmonies, evocative of a certain iconic harmony-centric California rock group. I'm talking about the Eagles, obviously. The lyrics offer a humorous study of life in sunny California during the holiday season. Being a Texan myself, I can kind of relate to that. The song is really well done and feels very much like the kind of thing we would want from a Christmas recording by this particular group, Switchfoot. But the fun doesn't stop there. Scrappy Little Christmas Tree is an oddball, upbeat garage rock tune about picking out less than ideal Christmas trees year after year. It sounds like they had a lot of fun with this one, and that's a nice thing about these kind of projects. You get opportunities to try things that you wouldn't on a regular studio album. Moving right along, we also get the obligatory radio-oriented slow jam in Looking for Christmas, which frankly wasn't my favorite song. The melody feels somewhat predictable and recycled, and I'm starting to feel like Jon Foreman's been writing this same song over and over again since Vice Versa's in 2011. The difference being that this is the Christmas version. The message is quite thoughtful though. Jon's wondering how he can allow himself to enjoy the holiday festivities when the world is in such shambles. And you can enjoy life's blessings, Jon, and still be a loving and giving person. The two aren't mutually exclusive, and it isn't complicated, but I appreciate where his heart is at, but I digress. Midlife Christmas is another tune that's kind of a bummer, and by now this album is probably disqualified from being played at your next Christmas party. Regardless, the instrumentation is gorgeous and the whole production is impeccable as it transitions from haunting and strange to a straight up enchanting section between the verses. It certainly is one of the most interesting selections, and again, we get those highly sought after Christmas feels. What else? Yes, we have a song titled New Year's Day. I don't know if I've expressed this in the past, but I've never been crazy about the inclusion of songs about New Year's on Christmas releases. It's just premature, you know? This one's fine, I guess. It's more or less 2010s era Switchfoot to a T, and again with the recycled melodies. This one reminded me way too much of Where the Light Shines Through. You thought you were slick, guys, but I could tell. I see what you're up to. And now we have to talk about Hometown Christmas, which is at the end of the digital version of the record. Hometown Christmas was just, yikes, not my thing. They bring in guests from Need to Breathe and Judah. Never heard of Judah. Need to Breathe's been around for a while. The whole thing is just the glossiest, most overproduced, saccharine, and commercial waste of 4 minutes since the native tongue days. A part of me believes that countless YouTube ads have trained me to conditioned me to zone out when this exact style of corporate Imagine Dragons tier schlock comes on. This song left no meaningful impression, and it doesn't really fit on the record, so thankfully it's not on the vinyl version. And it is the last song on the digital, so I can just pretend that, it's just a bonus track and never listen to it again. But on a more positive note, This Is Our Christmas album by Switchfoot is exactly what I was hoping it'd be. There's a saying we have here at the Vinyl Brotherhood that weird Switchfoot is best Switchfoot. And by that I mean that when this band really leans into their more adventurous side without being constrained by the demands and expectations of the more commercial side of the industry, they produce their strongest and most intriguing work. That could be why their most recent album, titled Interrobang, was so successful and well received by the fan base. Do you see the irony here? If they simply embrace their innate switchfootedness and abandon any formulas that they've adopted along the way, I think their output would be better for it. Am I making sense? Regardless of a shortcoming here and a shortcoming there, there's plenty to enjoy about Switchfoot's This Is Our Christmas album. If you like this band, then I wouldn't think twice. Not only are all of your favorite Switchfoot-isms present, but they also try out some new things as well. If you're not very familiar with Switchfoot, this is still a pretty good option if you're looking for a couple tracks to add to your Christmas playlist. Some of the biggest praise I can give is that they effortlessly capture the Christmas vibe. That cozy, magical, nostalgic warmth that all Christmas music needs is here in spades, so you can totally look forward to that. So maybe it isn't perfect, but I'm certainly glad it exists, and I can see myself giving it an annual spin or two. I've got a couple of closing thoughts, so maybe we can head on back to the living area, and then I will send you on your merry way. One of the greatest strengths of this record is that it never feels phoned in or like a novelty that was rushed out the door and onto the shelves, as is the case with too many Christmas albums. It's thoughtful and fun and full of mirth. If you're looking for the Christmas vibes, look no further. It's by no means a perfect record, but it definitely got the job done for me, and I'm already looking forward to picking it up again 365 days from now. Let's go ahead and score Switchfoot's This Is Our Christmas album a 7.5 out of 10. My biggest critique would be the same one I've been giving them for at least 10 years now, if not more. Switchfoot functions best as a rock band, and they need to stop being afraid of being a rock band. But this album's best moments are way up there. It's been one of my life's great joys to see this band grow and develop year after year, and to still be putting out work that can rival their heyday is quite impressive. And by the way, if you're interested, we've got an album review for last year's Switchfoot release, Interrobang, that you can check out whenever you'd like. It's one of our older videos, so maybe don't expect the same level of quality, but I think some salient points were made if I do say so myself. We've gotten requests to review some older Switchfoot albums, and we might have to do that someday. I'd be delighted to discuss the underrated masterpiece that is Legend of Chin with you all sometime, so we'll see. I guess that's about all we've got for today, so let me say thank you one last time. You all have been the absolute best. I think we've got another Christmas review in us before the year's out, so stay tuned. Merry Christmas, and we'll see you later right here at the Vinyl Brotherhood.